Good evening. My name is Abel, and I am representing Team WaterIsLife. Today, we want to share with you our innovation business around this tiny aquatic plant, better known as duckweed. Do you think that this little plant can help us to solve water-related problems? For us, the answer is definitely yes. And today, we want to introduce 3 different problems that can be addressed with this plant. First, in recent years, agriculture has been impacted by several shortages of water supply in some regions of the country. And this is getting even worse year by year, driven by climate change. Second, some businesses have some problems to reduce excess of nutrient in water resources. And third, some farmers have some struggles to find a cost-effective solution to reduce evaporation from their own water reservoirs. Now, today we will only talk about water scarcity, water quality, and duckweed solving those problems, but at the same time. Now the question is, why duckweed? Well, we have identified several advantages of this plant. For instance, rapid growth, amazing ability to reduce excess of nutrient dissolved in water, and a highly contained of protein inside the plant, among other interesting features. But what really caught our attention is the overlooked 92% of clean content of water inside the plant. This could be the bridge that connects the water scarcity, water quality problems. The idea is to harvest this plant when water quality is a concern. As a byproduct, we can obtain food. On the other side of the change, we can use the duckweed to feed animals, but without drying it. This could lead to the reduction of amount of water that farmers need to supply their animals. What makes this idea so unique? Looking at the plant as a natural filter and natural reservoir of water is something that is not seen yet. And this idea is absolutely viable because duckweed for treating water is already well studied, and even the FAO recognized the highly nutritional content of duckweed. Well, finally, obtaining food as a byproduct of treated water is already an amazing feature, but that can be even greater if you combine the situation when water is scarce and the clean content of water of the plant can be another byproduct, absolutely boosting the added value of this solution. Thank you very much for your attention, and now we are open to questions.
You haven't managed to get that from my pool, have you? Well done, team, and thank you, Abel. Now we'd just like to ask from our judges, Daniel, would you like to go first?
Sure. This is an interesting idea. I think it's got some great value in that you're able to provide clean water as well as provide a food source, which is, hitting 2 different sets of markets there. Have you done any research into the costs around, removing it and those impacts that might occur when it comes to the broader supply of water, so that you've got those flow-on cost imposts when it comes to taking the water into a treatment plant and then distributing that out and being able to deal with the duckweed and that aspect?
At the moment, we haven't done any economical study yet. But one interesting feature of the plant is not necessarily it could be harvested in sewage water treatment plant, but also can be used on site in the own farms. This problem about excess of nutrient is not only for sewage; it is also a concern among farmers. But the main driver that can move or to make it a good or bad decision economically talking is the cost of moving the plant from one point to another. Our idea initially is to convince sewage people or sewage water treatment plants that are really near to the farms to reduce the cost of transportation.
Okay. Thank you.
And of course, no ducks were harmed in the making of this particular substance. I think something like that. Jess, how about a question from yourself?
great pitch, guys. Fantastic. Just curious, because you mentioned obviously that this is an issue for farmers, and I wondered the extent to which you'd done any validation and sort of actually talking to them about how they would go about sort of implementing this solution on farms.
At the moment, we haven't talking personally with people or farmers, but we know about projects in other countries, especially, and we know about a project in Spain that is related with the excess of nutrient with pigs. And they are actually doing a circular economy around the manure of the pigs, some content of water, using the duckweed to absorb the nutrients, but they are only focusing on feeding the animals. But they are not looking at the clean content of water of the plant. But the approach is already developed in other areas. Even in my country, in Chile, there is a project that is only focused on harvesting duckweed, but again, it's only for dry duckweed to feed animals. And even the FIO recognized that duckweed can be used for human consumption as well. It's a rich source of vitamin A and B group, actually.
Thanks, Jess.
Okay. Other application of the plant, it can be used to reduce evaporation in the pool, because when the plant cover the water surface, so it reduces the evaporation of the water to the atmosphere. At the same time, this plant can be used for biofuel production. So it has so many applications. We just scope our project to the agricultural sector.
Terrific. And Lisa, a question from yourself.
Yeah, just thanks very much for your presentation. I'm not much of a green thumb, but I'm keen to understand, are there particular climatic conditions that the duckweed thrives in, just in terms of understanding the total addressable market, you know, water treatment plants worldwide?
Duckweed can be thrive in tropical and subtropical conditions, but actually it's really, let's say, hard in terms of the plant. It's really hard to, and it's naturally found here in Australia as well. Even it's so great the amount of the multiplication ratio that can be a problem in the natural environment. It is actually can be a plague.
Thank you.
And Stephen, last but not least.
Fantastic presentation. Well done, guys. There are many rivers in Queensland and Australia where other weeds, aquatic weeds, are already floating. And so I guess I've got two questions, if that's okay. How did you, in many rivers, you can't even canoe down them now, the weed is so thick. So I think there's a definite opportunity for harvesting this sort of product. But question one is, how did you pick duckweed? And then how are you going to scale the product up? Like, how are you going to create a value stream from your product?
Yeah. Depending on the size of the project, because as we said, not only can be applied in sewage, can also be applied in the own farmer's site. There is kind of machine that can continuously harvest the plant as it is growing, and you have to do the mathematical and engineering about make it sure that the rate of growth is the same that you are harvesting, but that you can do it mechanically. One of the interesting features of the plant compared with algae, this is a floating plant. You can even catch it with a net in the more easy way, but you can do a mechanical, you can create a mechanical condition to make it automatically harvest. But again, it depends on the size. It can even be harvested with a net that the farmer, we can pay someone to be able to do that continuously.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Tim, I am so lucky that my wife is not here tonight, because I would be having duckweed 7 nights a week. So well done. A big hand of applause for Water is Life. Thank you, Abel.